This is a comic called Sinfest. It's been around for a while. It started off as a kind of like a dude bro comic, and then it transformed into an SJW comic, and now it's a weird turf comic. Celebrate trans joy, says the figure on the screen. And the pig character says, joy, she looks miserable. He looks joyful, trans joyful. So she was assigned miserable at birth. He's a man, always has been. She was Ellen Page, a chick. I had no idea up until this point in the comic that that was supposed to be Elliot Page. No, she was always Elliot. Look. So now the trans character is misgendering Elliot Page as well? That doesn't make any sense. Elliot Page, filmography, Juno, pregnant boy, X-Men, Kitty Pryde, mutant boy, Hard Candy, Haley, underage boy, Inception, Ariadne, a boy within a boy within a boy. And then the pig character's like, whoa, Mandela effect. I had no idea that what I was looking at was even supposed to be Elliot Page. I also just love the idea that Elliot Page just looks miserable. I mean, granted, if I go look for some pictures of Elliot Page, I can find pictures of Elliot Page all over the emotional spectrum. I can find pictures of Elliot Page looking kind of miserable, sure. I can find pictures of any fucking celebrity looking kind of miserable. I mean, a lot of times they are miserable. They're going through like this gauntlet of interviews where it's like, talk to this person from this thing, talk to this person, talk to this person, talk to this person, talk to this person, talk to this person. Endless promotion of the freaking movie or show or whatever the latest project is. And it's fatiguing, especially when you got to constantly like, oh yeah, we're so excited. Answer the same generic fucking questions for 500 different media outlets, right? But, you know, there's plenty of pictures of Elliot Page. Like, does Elliot Page look miserable here? Like, I guess if you really try to, like, tell yourself, like, oh, well, you know, I think I see a little misery in the eyes, maybe. But no, Elliot Page doesn't look miserable here. Doesn't look miserable here. Doesn't look miserable here. Elliot Page doesn't just look miserable. And even if they did look miserable, that doesn't mean they actually are miserable. And even if they actually are miserable, that doesn't invalidate their fucking gender identity. So shut up, you freaking retard. A lot of people have asked me, hey, where do you do your live streams? And the answer to that is that I do live streams called Abandon Hope every Sunday on the Pessimist Productions Patreon. That is linked down below. There is all sorts of other stuff on that Patreon as well. It is about $7 a month, and I think that we offer a pretty generous amount of content in exchange for that membership. So if that's something that interests you, be sure to check out the Patreon link in the description section of this video. Over 620,000 white people died to free black slaves, and still to this day, not even one thank you, and we're now known as racists. Well, first of all, 620,000 is the total number of deaths in the entire Civil War. That really doesn't track because a lot of those deaths were people fighting to preserve the institution of slavery, actually. And, not all the people who fought in the Civil War were white, so it's kind of weird to assume all 620,000 of those people were just white dudes, because it was not only white dudes that fought in the Civil War. And also, I'm pretty sure that black people actually have said thank you a few times for that. You say there's not even one time that's ever happened. But also, like, the fact that we in our society had to fight a war to end slavery, that means that there were people who were willing to fight to the death to preserve the institution of slavery, and most of them were white dudes. And so, like, the fact that we had to fight a civil war to decide this in our country, that doesn't reflect positively on us. That's not a positive thing that you could look at and be like, well, you know, that's a really, you know, happy chapter in American history. It's not, actually. It actually shows that we're kind of shitty. So it's not something we should necessarily be patting ourselves on the back over. Hey, 620,000 people had to die just so we could get rid of something that was immoral to begin with and that we never should have had instituted in the first place. Like, that's not a bragging right, dude. That's not a boast, okay? So, like, shut the fuck up. And, you know, This like, oh, now we're known as racist. No, sure, there are some super SJW types that will go out there and say, oh, white people are racist. Well, no one really takes them all that seriously, okay? These are like the fringiest of the fringe morons that everyone frickin' pretty much laughs at. Everyone knows there are some white people who are racist and there are some white people who aren't. And then there's some white people who are not by and large racist, but maybe have a little bit of racial tendencies here and there or whatever. And that's how it is. And it's like way more nuanced. There's not just everybody's racist or nobody's racist. You know, I'm tired of all this, like, you know, all or nothing bullshit. This one's, I don't even know what to make of it. So this is a meme where I don't know if this is supposed to be a Zoomer, I guess. And this is Dr. Clown PhD tweeting this meme that says, for Christmas, don't forget to give your friends and family the best gift, the truth. And so there's a bunch of people flipping the bird at this person. And their present is just a piece of paper that says, you have XY chromosomes. And I'm kind of confused because if you just showed me this person, I would have assumed that it was like a girl, right? That's like the first thing I would have assumed is it's a girl or, you know, possibly a trans guy. But if they have XY chromosomes, that means that their sex is male. So this is really doesn't make sense. Like, because either they are a girl, I mean, either they are female, like their sex is female, in which case they do not have XY chromosomes. They probably have XX chromosomes. Or they're a trans dude, in which case their relatives saying they have XY chromosomes. I mean, it'd be a lie, but it would actually be affirming. So accidentally based, I don't know. Pretty fucking weird meme. So it's two people looking at a Make America Great Again hat. It says double vision. And one of the people sees the KKK, the swastika, hate, then Trump is a demon, and the other person sees Trump as a beautiful angelic being with a gorgeous smile, and it says wall, America first, jobs, justice. And you know, the funny thing is, this meme is basically saying like Trump's not about hate, Trump's not about Nazi stuff, but then the person who is looking at the hat and seeing all that stuff is like basically looks like a like a Jewish caricature from like some Nazi propaganda, you know, back in the lead up to World War II. Like the character that's looking at the hat and seeing racism is literally a racist caricature of a Jewish person. So, I mean, like, what's the message here? You know, maybe if you're trying to say that MAGA is not racist, maybe don't do that by displaying Jewish people as like having gigantic, cartoonishly fucking goblin-nosed beings that are just like, I'm just evil. Like that doesn't really jive, right? Okay, this one. This is a great one. I don't know who this guy is. If anyone knows who this guy is, let me know. I don't know if he has anything to actually do with this, but whatever. So you want to see the tax returns of a billionaire that became a politician. A smart person will want to see the tax returns of politicians who became millionaires, don't you think? Why should any politician not show me their tax returns? Why are you defending that? Like, I want everyone who holds political office to divulge their tax returns so that we can know exactly what they're doing financially, because they're being entrusted to legislate, to make laws, to enforce laws. So I'm pretty sure that I want to see their tax returns, regardless of whether or not they're a billionaire who became a politician or a politician that became a millionaire. Let me see their tax returns. And in fact, up until Trump, most politicians, especially on the national sort of presidential level, did release their tax returns. It was actually very strange that Trump did not. So what is even the point of this meme? Of course we want to see our politicians' tax returns. You're the one trying to make an excuse for why a particular politician shouldn't show them. Well, I want to see. I want to know. I want to know everything about these motherfuckers. Or if I don't want, even if I'm not going to personally go look at their tax returns, I want someone else to go look at it and come report back like, hey, I looked at this motherfucker's tax returns. There's some fucking shady shit like here and here and here. It's like, oh shit, is there? And then I can go look into that if I am so inclined. This one is very direct. I appreciate the fact that it's just direct. Doesn't have a lot of bullshit. Doesn't want to blow us a bunch of smoke up my ass. Isn't trying to like trick me with some chicanery or anything like that. It's just right up front. Stop being degenerate. Go to church. Start a family. Build community. To which I say, no thanks, no thanks, no thanks, maybe. I'm not against building a community necessarily. But if I build a community, it's going to be a community that doesn't give a shit about starting a family, doesn't give a shit about going to church, and loves being degenerate as fuck. That's my community. Not a week goes by when we're looking at these right-wing memes that we don't see the Chad Wojak. It's just, hey, he's so cool. He's so masculine, you know? Your vaccines aren't working. They're just making you sick. And then it shows this dying alien corpse, and it's just like, source. I mean, what? Dude, this shit with the vaccines, you guys predicted that these vaccines were going to kill us all, right? Like, Alex Jones went on the record, whatever record there is anymore, and was just like, hey, you know, the studies have shown the people who take these vaccines, their brains are just going to melt. They're going to be dead within a year of taking this. It's going to take a few months. They're just all going to be dead. And here we are, years and years later. We're not dead. Our brains have not melted, despite what the right might think. Our brains are still intact. We're still chugging along. No one has died. I mean, I know a lot of weird right-wing conspiracy sites have tried to be like, what are all these mysterious deaths? Well, I mean, if you want to ask an honest question, what accounts for these unsolved deaths, I'm all in favor of inquiry, but it doesn't seem like you're actually inquiring. It just seems like you've jumped to a crazy conclusion. Like, oh, they all must be dying from that mRNA vaccine. It must be that. Well, I mean, anyone can take a bunch of weird, unexplained deaths and attribute them to some random issue. Anyone can do that. That's easy to do. You know, you can be like, oh, well, they were killed because they played too much Frogger. You know, the popular video game from the 80s. Frogger. That, what it does is it scrambles up their brains and they think they're a frog trying to cross a road. And, you know, when they die in Frogger, they die in real life. You know, you can come up with any kind of crazy cockamamie shit if you really want. Unfortunately, coming up with a narrative isn't enough to actually convince me. You have to show me evidence. If you have evidence that people are dying of the COVID-19 vaccine, by all means, share it with the class. But you don't actually have that. All you have is some mysterious deaths that you point at and say, that must be the vaccine, when it could literally be any fucking thing. This is an Indiana Jones meme. Indiana Jones now is a transphobic meme who says, when archaeologists find human remains, they're always male or female, never the other 700 made up ones. Well, that's because human beings have two sexes. You know, not counting the intersex people who might be in between in some way, which I think they make up like 2% of the population, something like that. But by and large, human beings are divided into the male and female sexes, and no one even remotely denies that. What we're talking about is gender, and gender cannot be identified via your fucking skeleton. There's no way to look at a skeleton and tell what its gender is. Can you tell what its sex is? Sure, there's ways to do that. Can you tell what its gender is? No, there's no way to do that. It would be like trying to tell what its politics are. It'd be like trying to tell what its religion was. Like, you can't figure any of that out by looking at a goddamn skeleton, you imbecile. Like, give me a break. You guys are so fucking dumb. And I love that as they're being so fucking dumb, they act so fucking smug about it. Like, yes, yes, we are correct. Oh, sure, yes, you're so correct. Here's another anti-vax meme. Never forget. And it shows a scene from I Am Legend, and it says, it wasn't the sickness that created the zombies. It was the cure. Do we have zombies running around? Are there fucking zombies? Because I have not seen any zombies. And if there are zombies running around in our culture, I'm pretty sure that consumerism has made them zombies. But as you know, if you saw my Christmas message, I'm not necessarily anti-consumerist at all. I like consumerism. I like buying stuff. I like material things. I like possessions. Why not?